It's not your fault. Oh my god, I'm getting teary right now. Like, I didn't choose to go through this. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Angie, and for those of you guys who are new to my channel, I wanted to share some exciting yet scary news at the same time. My husband Gino and I have been on this infertility journey for about 2.5 years, and after 4 unsuccessful IUIs, we decided to proceed with IVF, which stands for in vitro fertilization. So in today's video, I'm just going to talk about my feelings, sorry, that's my stomach if you hear any growling. My feelings, Chino's feelings, the science behind it all, like what will I be going through when I do IVF? And honestly, just like everything we've been going through until this point. It's going to be a lot, so let's just get started. I'm just going to do a quick summary of my trying to conceive story in case anyone's new here. I'm 33, my husband is 31, and we actually met in high school. We've been dating since we were really young. We ended up getting married in 2020 and had a very small, intimate COVID wedding in the new home that we purchased. We didn't go on our honeymoon right away, but we had to wait a year. And ever since then, we've just been traveling a lot, trying to get as much as we can out of the time that we have, just us two, before we decided to try. So 2 years into us getting married is when we decided to try to expand our family. I started doing ovulation strips right off the bat. 3 months goes by, 6 months goes by, 12 months goes by, and I'm still not pregnant. I mean, the only positive test I've seen was a COVID test, which is really sad. So with my OB, I went in for an SIS, which is where they flush the tubes and see if there's any blockages, which is preventing pregnancy. The first time was unsuccessful because I have a very small cervix, which is the opening into your uterus. So the second time was successful, but I was on a lot of Tylenol and Advil because it was extremely painful for me. They could not get the catheter to go in. I wasn't even going to a fertility clinic, and my life was already like so hard. I felt at that point, little did I know I would have to come to this point. After multiple blood work, 2 SISs, and semen analysis for my husband, we were diagnosed with unexplained infertility. So I was referred to a fertility clinic by my OB. After further repeats of the same labs, they also diagnosed us as unexplained infertility, but my OB was very confident that we would get pregnant naturally. But at this point, it was like a 2-year point, and I just did not want to keep trying naturally because to me, it felt like a waste of time. We've been doing this for 2 years and clearly it's not working. I just want to seek medical attention so that I can get to where I want to be faster. But she said that if I wanted to try, why don't we start with IUI? She thinks IVF is a little too aggressive of a treatment for us, given that we are very young and everything is healthy with us. So I did not want to go to the IVF route either. I was very against it actually, because I knew I couldn't handle the emotional and hormonal and physical aspects that IVF comes with, and financial. So we decided to do IUI. Each IUI was not easy for me. I was sick to my stomach with the first. It did get a little easier with each one, but when it came down to the actual procedure day, I mean, I was extremely uncomfortable and it hurt. And even though IUI was that traumatic, I still wanted to proceed with IVF because I did not want to pursue more IUI. I didn't think that I would even come to this, but I guess despite all the traumatic experience, I still wanted to be a mom and we wanted to be parents, that we even came to this point. Gino was pretty much okay with whatever decision I decided to make. He knew that in all of this, the only person that it affects the most is me. He always says I'm not doing anything. I just feel like, you're like a human pin doll, just getting pinned all the time, month to month, and now it's gonna be even worse. But he said that if I truly wanted to do this, he was down. But he was also down to not do any treatments too, and just try naturally because, nothing is wrong with us. I actually just came back from the clinic today, and I've been on 3 weeks of birth control, and you guys are probably like, why are you on birth control? So we'll backtrack and I will explain the entire timeline of things and what IVF entails. For those of you guys who aren't going through infertility that are watching this, you don't know what IVF is and you've never dealt with infertility, you can watch this and see what it means to be on a IVF cycle. I mean, I was on the same boat. I didn't know, but I think it's something that we should all be aware of. Even if you don't have to go through it, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to know about what it is. And if you have a friend that says that they are going to go through it, then you know exactly what they are going through. Well, not exactly, but you kind of know what they are going through as opposed to being clueless. Growing up, I was always a curious type, and I always wondered, like in high school and college, watching YouTube vlogs on infertility. I don't know why I did that. I just always felt bad for people that needed to do it, but I just never thought that that would be me. No one in my family has gone through infertility, so I just never thought that I would be in this spot today. I never thought I would have a YouTube channel, so it's really surreal to be sitting on the other side of what I thought reality would be. I have my computer out here with notes, so I might be looking down once in a while. So IVF is where they stimulate my body to produce about 10 to 40 eggs to be retrieved on egg retrieval day. Normally, a female body releases 1 egg on ovulation. With IVF, obviously, I am injecting myself with a lot of hormones to produce, like 10 times and up to 40 times the normal amount. I'm actually really scared of how I will be. Like, I'm no longer scared of needles, but I know that I'm gonna be injecting myself once in the morning, once at night, and then more depending on how my body responds to it and all of that. But Chino has always been in charge of my injections because I'm just so scared to do it myself. I know that my hormones will be like up and down. I'm gonna be extremely lethargic. I'm gonna be super tired. I'm gonna be bloated. Like, I'm just gonna feel not myself. So hopefully I respond okay and I don't have to do more injections than I need to. There's a garbage truck out, so ignore that, please. And each ovary will swell up to the size of like clementines or even like baseball, softball size balls. It's just a really big deal and a lot different from IUI, hence this dedicated video about my decision on starting IVF. And once I'm ready, I'll be going into the doctors like every 2-3 days for blood work and ultrasound. But whenever they tell me I'm ready, then I will put in a injection where I ovulate within 36 hours. And then I will be going in for a surgical procedure at a hospital where I will be undergoing anesthesia. It's a very it won't be heavy anesthesia. It's just I think it's about enough like when you do a colonoscopy or endoscopy where you're slightly knocked out for a little bit. It's like that degree. And the procedure isn't super long. It's maybe about 30 to 45 minutes, I believe. But I know that the recovery can be bad. Basically, in the procedure, they'll be putting in this big needle and somehow suctioning the eggs out. And something just tells me that the recovery is going to be bad for me. Even the easiest things have been the hardest for me on this journey. So I just kind of feel like it's going to be bad. After the surgery, they will tell me how many eggs that they were able to retrieve. Let's say they retrieve 40 eggs. It doesn't mean I have 40 different babies ready. So the day of the procedure, Chino's actually gonna have to give a semen sample. In the lab, they will be doing a step where they take each sperm that is the most healthy looking and that looks good, so the morphology and motility wise, they're healthy and moving, all of that. They will just take those and put it into each egg. They're gonna be putting into a incubator for about 5 to 6 days to see how many of them mature and survive. So that number just keeps dropping. But at this point, we also decided to do PGT-A testing, which is an option you have if you decide to do IVF. And basically it's a genetic testing to see if there are any chromosomal abnormalities. So I think one of the bigger ones are Down syndrome and etc. If it's missing a chromosome or anything like that, then the chances of me miscarrying that baby is higher. So during this step, they eliminate the ones that are missing chromosomes or have any problems. And then you come out with an even smaller amount. So then with the healthy ones, we get to decide which embryo we want to be implanted inside of me. So then this is going to be about 4 to 6 weeks after the egg retrieval is when I will go in for the embryo transfer. For the transfer part of the process, which is the last part, they will put in the embryo of our choosing. I will not be under anesthesia on this step. I'll be fully awake, and it doesn't take that long, but it's still another procedure that I will have to do. And I'm really hoping that at the end of egg retrieval, we do have a good amount of embryos and that during the transfer, the baby will stick, hopefully. And hopefully with the rest of the embryos that I have, we have the option to store them in a freezer. We have a fee, an annual fee to pay based on how long we want to preserve them. So that's kind of how the process is. And as I've mentioned earlier, I just finished my 3 weeks of birth control and it sucked. Like, I've never been on birth control before. My mood was up and down. I had cramps every day. I don't know why I had cramps. My boobs hurt like crazy, and yeah, it just wasn't the most pleasant experience. And I've also been told to basically be on like a keto-ish diet. So low carb, not fully, like I can't eat carbs, but I have to be on a low carb, low sugar, high protein diet. So basically it can just make the whole process worse for me. And I can feel more pain and more bloating if I do not decide to follow this strict diet. So I decided to, and it's feeling great. I've been working out more. I've just been trying to stay healthy to produce good healthy eggs this time around. Been drinking a lot of water and all that. Speaking of water, I should probably drink water bottle. I will say though that overall this IVF process is still a very unknown process. Like, all the stars have to align for me to get pregnant, but I feel like sometimes social media and sometimes how IVF is portrayed is like it's 100% guarantee, but it's really not. Like, even getting one embryo out of this egg retrieval is like a miracle. So I do want to point that out. There are people who go through egg transfer and get 0 embryos, or they do so many transfers and they don't get pregnant, So like, it's not 100% guarantee that you will. It puts me at a higher chance of getting pregnant, but it doesn't mean I will. I'm trying to go into this with low expectations and with my eyes wide open and like an open heart. I did want to talk about finance aspect of it because IVF is extremely expensive. So each IVF is about like $20,000 to $25,000 per cycle in my area. So it's extremely pricey, and luckily, like, we are so grateful that we have this insurance program where they do cover a portion of our fertility treatment. So we've already touched into our $25,000 allotment that we are given by doing IUIs. It's not cheap, and I am so thankful to God every day that He put us in this situation where it doesn't have to be fully out of pocket. It's so expensive, and people do save up years and years and years to do one cycle of IVF. I want to make it known that I do not take a single moment of this for granted, and I thank God that we even have the privilege to do one round. So I am normally a very type A go-getter. I plan meticulously on every aspect of my life, and clearly this is not the only, but one of the aspects that I cannot control. So when we started trying to conceive, I was doing ovulation strips like to the T, like multiple times a day. Like, I was not a loosey like, oh yeah, let's see if I get pregnant. It was like, no, I'm full on trying. I'm either all in or I'm not trying at all. It's one or the other. There's no in between. There was never a relaxing moment for me in this 2.5 years. But sometimes people ask me, when you look back, do you wish that you tried earlier? If you knew that it took you this long to get to this point, would you have tried earlier? And my answer would be no. I don't think my decision would change because I mean, honestly, I even look back to our recent like Seattle trip, and that trip would not have been the same if I were pregnant or if we had kids. I mean, we might not even have gone on the trip. So I enjoyed all the time that Chino and I had until this point, and the fact that it was just us two. I mean, this situation of infertility has made our relationship like stronger than ever. When I look back at all the times, I'm glad it was just Chino and I, because I watch my sister Grace and my adorable niece Ella. I see her and she always tells me like life is not the same after a kid, and I mean, I'm with them almost every day. So even though I don't have a kid, it feels like I have a kid, you know, or I see it firsthand. She's always telling me to enjoy it now while I don't have a kid. And I'm not saying that like you shouldn't have kids. If you have kids, you know, your life sucks. Like I'm not saying that, because clearly after seeing it, I still want a kid and I'm doing IVF in order to get one. But I'm just saying it to those who are going through infertility or IVF or IUI, that when you're in the thick of it, you don't see it, but there's so much in life to enjoy without a kid too. And when it's just you and your partner, I mean, even if you don't have a partner, even if you're by yourself, like there's so much to life other than kids and a big family. I just want to say, like, just try to look up, breathe, and enjoy the time that you have now, because you will never ever be able to get that time back. When I see my relationship with Chino, like I know that there was a lot of good that came out of this too. IVF is such a touchy subject because of like religious beliefs, people's perception of it. I remember when I was talking about IVF, like I once had in the comments like, you know, you can also adopt. Why are you choosing IVF so late? Like, why did you decide to do it like at 2 years? Or like some people might think I'm way too young to do IVF. I don't know. There's just so much judgment when it comes to this. I want to say like, it's not your fault. Oh my God, I'm getting... my gosh, I'm getting teary-eyed. When you're in certain situations, you didn't choose to be there. Like I didn't choose to go through this, you know? But when life throws these things at you, you gotta do what you think is right. You don't have to follow specific guidelines and rules. And I feel like when you try to break free from the cage or the shackles that society puts on you, you'll just have such a better life and be relaxed. That is why Chino and I decided to do IVF. I mean, a lot of people told us just like try naturally. Some people tell us do IVF, like why didn't you do it sooner? For me and Chino, we felt that this was the right timing for us, and this was a decision that we wanted to do IVF in order to expand our family. This goes for people that aren't dealing with infertility, even people who don't want to have kids. Like no one should be telling you to have kids. No one should be telling you to not have kids. I mean, if you don't want kids, trust me, I've been on that boat. I completely get it. But Chino and I have been praying every single night for, I don't know, yeah, the 2.5 years that we've been trying. We've had so many friends and family members that are still to this day praying for us. This is gonna be the Christian side of me coming out. But I just remember praying like, Lord, have your will in this journey of ours. Like, I don't wanna get to the point of IVF if it's not part of your plan. So stop it in any way. Whether like I get pregnant through IUI or something happens, like I have like a full-blown cyst that explodes in my uterus and it prevents me from having IVF, like just show me signs so that I don't have to go there. But to me, it seems clear. I'm just hoping that this will result in a successful pregnancy. But if I'm not, then that's also part of God's plan. I do really think that infertility is one of the hardest things that I've ever gone through in life, if not like the second hardest. I don't know, I haven't decided yet. But for those of you guys going through infertility, I just want to say I love you guys so much, and God does too. There is a reason for everything, even though that's like a hard pill to swallow. And there's just a whole world besides infertility, but sometimes when you feel stuck, that's all you can see and think of, and it's hard. It's really hard. I mean, trust me, I know how hard it is. Oh my God, why do I keep crying? But thanks for allowing me to just get all my emotions and the limited knowledge that I have on IVF out there for you guys to listen to. Thanks for like watching until this point too, honestly. Although this is like an exciting time that we're moving forward and hopefully one step closer to pregnancy, it's also an extremely emotional and like grieving process, because as silly as this sounds, there's so much that gets taken away by doing IVF. For instance, the surprise element. I would love to do, and I've always like thought about like pregnancy announcements, surprising my husband with the pregnancy strip and surprising my friends and family, but like all of that is taken away because my doctor will be telling me if I'm pregnant or not. There's no way in surprising anyone because everyone will know the timeline and just be like, ooh, are they pregnant or not? I feel like a lot of that gets taken away, like the surprise factor, which is probably silly, some of you guys might think, but I don't know, it's something that like I've always wanted to be a part of, but all of that gets stripped away and it makes the whole process very like medical and hospital-like. If any of you guys have any questions or just need someone to talk to, you always know that you're only a comment away. Like leave a comment down below, DM me. I actually just right now even got a DM about someone asking me about watching my infertility journey, and I don't know, it's just nice that I get to talk to people that I would never have talked to who live across the country or like a completely different state, and I can connect with you guys through this special situation. So make sure to DM me, email me, or leave a comment. I answer every single one. Trust me, I answer and I look at every single comment and EM and DM. So if you need someone to talk to, I'm here. I literally vlogged my entire infertility journey, so you can check that out as well too. My egg retrieval vlog will be out shortly. I'll be starting injections today, but I'll see you guys next week with some light holiday-esque content. It'll be fun, so make sure to check that out. I'll see you guys. I hope you guys have a great week. Oh my God, this is crazy. These didn't have to be